Welcome to the Dynamite Delight. I'm going to call it from now on that if I don't forget. This show. Woo! I'm going to say this. As I've always said, I am not a high-flying wrestling fan. I like a more well-balanced match. But I got to say this. As much as I do not like heavy amounts of high-flying, I just don't. This show had a good amount of it. And it fit. And I enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed this, at least this episode of Dynamite, having this type of wrestling. It actually made some sense. Now, I'm sure not everyone's going to agree with it. And I do believe that if you see it for yourself, you're going to say, well, there were several things missing in here. One thing that was missing, particularly, there's still not much storytelling. Second one, promos are still extremely sparse. There's very few promos. You got one from Moxley. And you got one from, who else did it, a promo? It was with the champion, Chris Jericho, Y2J himself. But technically speaking, there was very few moments that we had promo segments or we had any type of like vid packs. There was only one major vid pack, and that was for Cody dealing with the up-and-coming match between him and Chris Jericho, I think November 9th, at, what is it? I forgot the name of it. Not Top Gear, Main Gear, I can't remember it. I don't remember, I'm sorry guys. I haven't really kept up with the next pay-per-view. It's supposed to be Gear or something. I'm sorry, I've been busy. But I gotta say this about the vid pack. It was extremely well done. Now, I know the guy's name, Tony Schiavone. I believe that's his name. And I gotta say this about Schiavone. I do like him. I did feel like I need to warm up to him. And the way he is on commentary does compliment very well. I do like him now. But when it came to the vid pack, it was well done. Them trying to put over Cody, saying that he's the most driven person you could see, and seeing a Brandy showing a good amount of, well, almost a good amount of cleavage, made it lovely. But here's the thing. For me personally, when this match happens at the pay-per-view, I'm not predicting this, but I do believe this. I don't believe that Cody should win that championship at that time. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad thing that he doesn't, but I do believe it's better for business because we don't need an instant champion and a Cody who helped start a company just because of WWE. I just believe that he doesn't need to win the title to really justify himself, at least right now. I do believe later, but not right now. Now, I gotta turn the camera aside, guys. When it came to the opening of the show, we had Best Friends versus SCU. Now, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian, they were supposed to be the ones who was going to be in it, but Lucha Brothers came in and basically pile drive. It was Pentagon basically pile drive the hell out of a Christopher Daniels, and he was out. So Scorpio Sky, who was he was in the back. He came to the front. He was wondering about them, and he basically took the place of a Christopher Daniels, worked with Kaz. And I was wondering, what type of personality does Scorpio Sky have when the lights are on him? Now, anybody else has probably seen him on Indies a lot. I have not. So, the thing that gets me, I keep thinking of Too Cold Scorpio from ECW. I'm not saying, like I said, I don't know if he's a relative of his. I don't think it's his son. I don't think he's even related. But I can't stop thinking about Too Cold Scorpio and this guy, because they had some similar qualities. They got charisma. They got good work ethic. They got good work in the ring. That's what I keep getting from him and Too Cold Scorpio. And honestly, when you see this match, and he's in sneakers. And at one point, I think it was Beretta who grabbed his sneaker and threw it out of the ring. He took off his shoe and threw it out of the ring. He just kept wrestling. The match was a bit much when it came to the high flying, because I think it was not necessary for the high flying. But it was about Too Cold Scorpio. You see, I'm thinking about him because he reminds me of him so much. Scorpio Sky made that match. He did. And in the end, they won. I didn't expect them not to win because throwing Scorpio in there, I did not think Scorpio Sky was not going to make the match mean something. And he's the one who got the pin. It made sense. It was good. So now Scorpio Sky and Kazarian are moving on in the tournament. The next match, we got... I gotta say this. Look, if anybody likes Rio, I'm not against you. I actually like her. But here's the thing, and it was not the match quality, it was the major issue. At least not in the beginning and not in the middle. The end was dumb. I'm not gonna lie. The end of that match was dumb. Not because it wasn't executed properly. Rio's a 13-year veteran. She's been taught how to wrestle. From the time she was a little girl until she turned 21, nearing 22 now. I think she's nearly 22 now. But the point is, it wasn't that she could not execute the movements properly. Nope. Here's the issue. You got a Britt Baker who is not a big woman, dealing with a woman even smaller than her, who is the first, calm yourself, AEW Women's Champion. Instead of it being a larger woman or more well-known woman in either Europe, in Mexico, in Canada, or America, you chose a Japanese wrestler. Now, here's the thing. I'm not against Japanese wrestlers. I'm not. I always feel like Japanese wrestlers, no matter if they're a man or woman, has always been so badly underutilized in American wrestling promotions. They have. Very few times are they treated properly. And very few times they actually win a damn title that means something. But you gotta be honest here. It would have been better that Britt Baker and the dentist was supposed to go up against Nia Rose. Nia Rose should have won this. It's not because she's a transgender. I don't give a damn, as I said before, when she did not win that match. I don't care if you got a dick, or a pussy, or a pair of boobs, or a pair of pecs. I don't care what you're built like. I don't care if you rearrange your organs to be whatever the hell you want. You have to be good in the ring. You got to be charismatic. You have to be capable of talking. You have to have at least a certain look that makes you look good with your character. That's what I care about. And the problem here is, Rio does not fit this title at this time. Nia Rose does. Because she's a big-ass woman who should be the one who won the first title. Yes, it's very predictable. Yes, it's obvious. But in this situation, as an opening episode of... calm. Look, AEW needed someone like a Awesome Kong to win that title, but she's not there. Either she's injured, or she's off doing something, or she's not signed. I don't know. I would love to see her, but she wasn't the one who won the damn match. She should have. Then you have Nia Rose, the second biggest monster in the company, if Awesome Kong is still there. As far as I know, she is. She should have won it. And then every woman on that roster has a strong opportunity to make themselves mean something. They gotta rise through the ranks and win, and win, and win some more. And then they win the damn title. Having Rio win against Nia Rose, who should have obviously won that, makes her look bad. Because even though the crowd loved the match, and they love Rio, and I'm not against Rio, she got great in-ring skill and talent. For someone who's worked for 13 years, only being 21 or 22 years old, I'm not against her ring work. Admittedly, I think she needs to change her shorts because she looks like she's wearing baggy shorts. She needs to change those shorts and make them longer because she does not look right. It looks baggy on her ass, legitimately. She needs something tighter on her buttocks because they did do a zoom in on her butt and her shorts look baggy as hell. And I'm not saying because she's a Japanese woman and she got no ass. I've seen Japanese women who do not have American genes who got an ass. She's just a very thin woman. But she should not have won the title. She shouldn't have won it. Not now. Next year, building herself up in the ranks, going through everyone. And then next year at the next pay-per-view, could be the first pay-per-view of the year. I don't care. I think the second one would be the best. But if it had to be the first pay-per-view of the year, fine. At least Nia Rose would have destroyed people to make it look right. Because as it stands, it feels like a joke. And Rio or Dr. Britt Baker is not. But it feels like it. Rio wins. Let's move on. That took a long time. I'm sorry. We have Santana Ortiz versus some jobbers. I think one was called Silver and the other one was Reynolds. Here's the problem. No excitement. I admit I didn't see all of what was stated during their entrance because most of the, I did hear most of it. I gotta crank this back. One of the glaring issues that AEW still has is the advertisers and having to cut away and then going picture in picture. You see it in my face. You got the jobbers doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. You got the ring being seen and it's just blank. They should have never went to the split screen during the commercial. They should have just allowed the commercial to play in its entirety and then let Santana and Ortiz do what they had to do. But as far as I saw, when Santana and Ortiz came out, when they finally cut back, there was no cheering for them. There was no major booing for them. They really needed the LAX moniker to maintain their position. And they don't feel like they're important. Maybe when they're with Chris, it just doesn't feel like it. Now, was the match bad? No, I enjoyed the match. It was fine. In the end, Santana and Ortiz won it, but they just do not feel credible because they don't have it. They don't have it. Of course, they're trying to rebuild their characters as part of the inner circle, but it just feels empty. And even though Chris Jericho was hyping their match that's coming up in November 8th? No, November 9th. Even though he was hyping it and making it important that the champion always gets the best people for his faction, his inner circle. The champion only picks the best. And there was another weakness. They, instead of reducing the audio outside, it counts on where Chris was, because if he was right near the ramp, they needed to do that away from the ramp and away from the curtains and away from there. He needed to be in a quieter place because we could hear Ortiz screaming, "That's what we are! That's what we are!" And we were hearing everyone in the background. Sometimes you need to do that because I don't want to hear Ortiz and Santana trying to put themselves over. And I can't hear Chris Jericho state that he wants them to be put over. You tell me if I'm wrong. There was another botch they had. They had 3 botches. And that's another botch. Here's a match that I was not happy about. That was, it was a tournament match. Just like what happened with SCU and the Best Friends. You got Jungle Boy and Stunt. I forgot his name. Not Joey Stunt. I can't remember his name. For some reason I'm blanking. But you had Stunt going against the Lucha Brothers. And Lucha Brothers just nailed a Chris Daniels. So they were already hot. People already booing them. But what made the match not that good? No Luchasaurus. I'm sorry. I think his name is Joey Stunt. I think so. But here's the problem. Joey Stunt is not a bad wrestler for a small guy. He's probably shorter than I am. Because he's not a tall guy. He did a good job. I like Joey Stunt. He's got good in-ring ability for a small guy if he is. I think he's like 5'2", maybe. But the point is, we needed a Luchasaurus. And problem is that he was injured. And he was not there. And that brought down the match. Because we needed the Luchasaurus. We needed that. The Jurassic Express needed the Luchasaurus. He should have been in that match, but unfortunately being injured, he just couldn't. And I think that's the reason why the match wasn't bad, but it felt like it should have been more. It wasn't a bad match, but it felt like it needed something else, another element. It was supposed to be a really big guy with 3 small guys instead of 3 medium-sized guys and a tiny guy. The Luchasaurus was not there. The Lucha Brothers won. Let's move on. Another tag match. And this is the second tag match that did not lead to the tournament. Just remember, we only had 2 matches that was for the tournament. Not all 4 of them. And that was it 4 matches? Yeah, it was 4 matches. And I gotta say this before I talk about what happened with Pac and Moxley. This is a different type of situation compared to the WWE or Impact Wrestling. Seeing these many matches is actually a nice change. But I gotta be honest here. If we do not see storytelling soon, having this many matches on a show, as much as people are gonna love it, you need storytelling to go with some of these tag matches. As much as they said tag team wrestling is going to be the emphasis of AEW, which I'm fine with, you must have storytelling. If there's no storytelling, this is going to be a major issue for Impact Wrestling is... How can I put it like this? Because I'm thinking Impact Wrestling is now moving to Axe. You're going to have AEW on Wednesday already dealing with an NXT, and Impact Wrestling doesn't have very good storytelling right now. But if I got to choose between AEW or Impact, if I can only watch one a week, it's going to be Impact. Because there's almost no storytelling on AEW. Yes, it's only the 3rd week and it takes time to really build up good storytelling. But they better have it soon. Now, Pac and Moxley versus Omega and the Hangman. It had a story. You got the Omega dealing with Moxley. What happened last week is built on here. It was a very damn good match. I enjoyed the match. I think more than any other of the matches here. I know the Scorpio Sky situation, it was all about him. And I really liked that match because it was about Scorpio Sky. But here, this was the best match as far as I could tell when it came to the tag teams. This was it. Because, 1, seeing Pac and Moxley work together was pretty good. I did enjoy the dynamic. And if anyone thinks that Jon Moxley's ring work is the same as WWE, nope. That ring work is completely, and I'm making it very clear, because we already know that Pac has always had great ring work, but he's never been allowed to really show what he can truly do. When it came to Moxley, he did the same thing as Dean Ambrose over and over. And it was just so tiring to see the same moves. He has a distinctively different moveset. I really like his in-ring work. Flat out, I enjoy it. He doesn't sell much. He doesn't do the same moves over and over again. He's always changing it up and making it feel different. He's not perfect. Let's be honest here. No wrestler is. But I am enjoying his ring work. In the end, how did this match end? We got Moxley and Omega whacking each other, getting to the point where they can't stand it anymore. They go under the ring. Moxley grabs a barbed wire bat, and Omega grabs a barbed wire broom as the cleaner. I don't know who came up with that moniker in New Japan Pro Wrestling, calling him the cleaner. It is so damn stupid. But I can understand it. He cleans up after any mess that he sees. It works for him. But it reached a point where even Pac grabbed both of those weapons, threw them out, and says to Moxley, "What are you doing? Leave it alone. Do not do this." And he gives him the 2 middle fingers and then basically screws him over, and Pac gets pinned very handily. You can see it in my face. Well, now next week we're supposed to have Pac versus Moxley, trying to keep Moxley busy until we get to the next pay-per-view. I'm alright with that. And finally, final match of the night, a street fight. This was the best match of the night. Hogtied. I already got a name. I can't remember it right now. I already put it for the title, I think. Did I put it for a title? I said, what? I guess I'm botching because I haven't seen a match like this in quite a while. And this is what I enjoyed. When it came to Darby Allin, he is very good for 22. 4 years in the business, he's very good high flyer for what he is. And I do believe he'll get better with time. He'll learn how to be able to pick his spots very well. And I got to say this. I am hoping that he will learn because he can really end his career very, very quickly if he's not careful. But was the match good? Yes, it was. It was the best match of the night. At one point, you got it going back and forth. And just kind of like with the Lucha Brothers when it came to Stunts and it came to Jungle Boy. You got two bigger guys versus two smaller guys. And this is what was going in this match. Chris Jericho is not a huge guy, and he made Darby Allin look like a little kid. Like it was his son. And he was whooping his ass in certain points and then getting his ass whooped in other points as well. I think a couple of times it might have gone a little too far. But once Chris duct taped Darby Allin's wrist and put it behind the back of put him in his back, as you can see it in my face, he is hog-tied, except his legs are not tied up. He's basically tied, as they say, I can beat you with both hands tied behind my back. I'm not using that title because it's too long. But he proved he could wrestle very good. He reached the point where he was going from the first turnbuckle to the second turnbuckle, and he jumped all the way up to the top turnbuckle and flipped back not once, but twice. I think twice or three times. I think it's twice, but I think he might have done a third one. But he was stopped in the third attempt by Hager, which is understandable. Jake Hager saved Chris's. I gotta say this. The reason I botched this is simple. I didn't have a problem with the match. It was the best match of the night. I enjoyed it over every match. I did. Even the tag match. Even though it was the best of all 4 tag team matches, this outstripped every match. Because it had a good story about a guy who used to be homeless. Who was a wrestler. Who had a chance to go up against probably one of his own idols. But the problem here is this, and you can see it in my face. And it wasn't a bad show. I enjoyed the show even with the glitches. But when you see Santana and Ortiz, they feel blank. The only ones there that make the best sense is Hager and Jericho. Everybody else feels weak. Sammy Guevara and Santana and Ortiz feel weak. And I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they can't wrestle. I'm not saying they're not charismatic. I don't say they don't have any charisma or they can't talk. Because I heard them, they can. But if you're going to see this from outside looking in, and I'm being honest here, the major problem is the 3 out of those 5 people there are weak because the company is just building up. And this is the 3rd week. And if you are someone from WWE or Impact Wrestling and you see them, you'll know them. But then you may say, they kind of feel kind of weak. Yeah, they won their matches, but they feel a little weak. And this is the major glaring weakness of AEW at this moment. It is still very new, and a lot of things need to be built around these guys. And like I said earlier, they need, and I repeat it again, they need to get some storytelling, some feuds done. They need to do backstage segments. They need to do in-ring segments. They need to start talking, as well as the matches need to be good, and damn good. If they don't start talking, this is going to fail. Because WWE gives a huge amount of talking and almost no wrestling that made any sense, that sucked. If AEW wants to be better, they must balance it, giving us a good amount of wrestling with a good amount of talking, storytelling, and feuds. If you don't understand the feud, it's just a blank match that you're not going to care about. Is that any better than WWE? But this is just my point of view. And I just want to say I didn't hate the show. I want to make this clear to anybody. If they're hearing me critique this, I didn't hate the show. But I'm being honest here. They need storytelling soon. If it's not coming in the next couple of months, we got a major issue. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.